scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it.
I got haters quiet. I can't hear a single syllable. Big flex. Big flex. You're now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. I'm your boy, MJ. Welcome to Trap Talk with MJ podcast. This is your first time tuning in. Whew, big smokers right now. If this is your first time tuning in. Welcome. What's good? Hope you're ready for some fun. Please hit the subscription button. Hit the subscribe. That way you're always having fun with us. You're never slept on. Can't stand when my hair's like that. That way you're never slept on any podcast I come out with. I do these every Thursday night, every Saturday morning, like clockwork. My real trappers know, all the motherfuckers, the early birds in the comments. You guys are blowing it up. Say what up to you guys in a minute. Thanks for being here. But yeah, it would mean a lot to me if you guys supported the channel just by hitting a subscription. Boom. Hit the like button. Hit the dislike button. Leave a comment. Show the guest something. You know what I mean? Because this is for the guest. The guest would appreciate some sort of reaction, I'm sure. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. Appreciate anyone who fucks with this channel. Even if you don't subscribe and you just come to watch. Views is what pays the bills. You know what I mean? So you don't even got to be a subscriber. If you're watching it, thank you. I appreciate it. Excuse me. Before we really get started, you guys know what the real deal is with USARK. We need them more than they need us. Does that make sense? Yeah. We need them. Most period. All right. We got to fight for our animal rights. We got to keep our animals. I don't want to have to go to bed. I don't want to have to go to bed like how other people are going to bed, unfortunately, losing their tegus in Florida. Like, dude, this shit's only going to get worse if we don't start fighting this shit. So do what you can. If you can't donate anything to USARK or become a member at their lowest membership cost, just fucking advertise it, man. You know, a lot of you guys have YouTube channels. Put that shit on your YouTube. Just talk about it real quick. Boom. All right. Spread the word. Spread like wildfire. When it comes to the rodents, where are we going to go? Cold Blooded Cafe, the freshest and the bestest. www.coldbloodedcafe.com. $30 flat rate shipping. Delivered to your doorstep, man. Professionally packaged by my team. I love them so much, man. Shout out to Desiree, Steven, Mindy, Amanda, fucking Mark. I try to remember all the noobs team member names. I think there was another guy named Thomas. But yeah, fucking Cold Blooded Cafe, man. That's where it's at. Treat your animals right by feeding them Cold Blooded Cafe, man. You got some eggs, put them inside of a sim box. The proof is inside the sim box, man. Less work. Peace of mind, humidity on point. You don't ever have to worry about it. Just fucking make sure your incubator's right. Those eggs are going to hatch inside of a sim box, man. The future of enclosures is here. Focus Cube Habitats. Shout out to Ashley, Steven, doing big things over there. Flex in Texas. You can't even fucking go wrong with that. So please go check them out, man. If you're literally thinking about adding some new enclosures, and you want some display type enclosures, these are PVC made. They're beautiful. I have a nice one that my beautiful Emerald Tree Bianca is living in right now. I have a matching one on its way, so I'll have my male and female ready to go right next to each other. And then, yeah, man, I got 2x2s. I'm going ballistic. My whole room that I'm in right now will be Focus Cube Habitats, all right? And then the next room I'm going to have the trap eventually at some point will have nothing but freedom breeder racks, because that's my goal. I would love to have some stainless steel freedom breeder racks, because talk about professional levels of snake keeping or even rodent breeding, freedom breeder is where it's at. So shout out to Jesse, shout out to the whole entire freedom breeder crew over there smashing it. You guys are been doing it for a while and holding up to your name. So shout out to them. And then shout out to the one and only Miguel Garcia, big bro, always evolving pythons, man. The industry leader, in my opinion, and is really doing a lot of things and putting people on and making sure they're being set up for success. I'm one of them. So please, if you don't know who the fuck Miguel Garcia is, go check him out. He's big bro. He's good people's, man. He's doing a lot of things for the industry. So shout out to Miguel for sponsoring the channel. And then, yeah, if you guys want to support this channel further than a subscription, I'm building this sick ass trap community, my trap familia. Shout out to all my trap fucking Patreon members in the comments. I'm going to get to you guys right now. But yeah, man, we would love to have some more people join the family. We get down every Sunday and we have Trap University sessions, and it's really cool, man. We all learn together. So if you want to be a part of that, check out the link below, Patreon page. Join the Patreon Patreon trap page, man. Fucking come fuck with us. We appreciate it. Who is here in the early birds? Man, there's so many. I have to scroll up. I don't even know who was here in the beginning. This homie is a Canadian homie, and he's always supporting the trap. He supports the channel, supports fucking Unfiltered, man. Shout out to the homie Reptile Keep. What's cracking? The general in the building, Martin Morphs, big homie right there, big bro. What's up, Martin? Nico B. Exotics, so is that NRB Exotics? What's up, homie? Mad support from Nico as well. Eric, what's going on? Eric, welcome in. Runya, what's cracking? Runya Reptiles, Bob Morphix, what is cracking? And then the big bro Jason Holbrooks. Jason, I hope you're ready to get smoked out, bro. Cali style. He's touching down. My homie Jason's touching down at the end of the month. He's going to the Del Mar Reptile Show. So if it's still going down, guys. Okay, so if any of you are like, damn, I need to get to a reptile show, bro, it's happening. Del Mar Fairgrounds, March 26th to the 29th, okay? It's a reptile expo. I'm going to be there, man. Jason's going to be there. I got other homies who are going to be there. I got some Trap Patreon homies that are going to be there. Let's all link up, man. Let's go in the parking lot. Let's smoke big. Let's scare all the rich white people. You know what I mean? That's where all the horse races go down. So, we will be making some noise down there. You feel me? But yeah, man, Del Mar's a beautiful place, first and foremost. And if you're really that good, if we smoke really that tight together, I'll take you maybe to one of my taco spots. I don't know. We'll see if we have time. But yeah, Jason, can't wait, man. Ryan, what's cracking, Ryan? And then the homegirl Mindy, another big trap supporter, man. She's a huge trap general supporter right there. What's up, Mindy? Hope you're ready to have some fun tonight. The homie Apex, another trap soldier right there. And the homie Wiz Constrictor. What is cracking, Wiz Constrictor? Reptile Club. Damn, another Patreon homie, man. You guys are all here tonight. All right, you guys are ready to rock and roll. And then real quick, also, man, you guys are already doing fucking mad love to you guys, man. So any kind of super chats, right? Because if you do have a question for tonight's guest, you really want to get your question out there, you're better off sending a super chat. It could be $1.99. It could be $24.99. It could be whatever, because guess what? Any money that you put into the super chats goes strictly right over to USARK. So all this money that is put into the super chats from this chat, obviously this episode and then any episode moving forward, all that money goes over to the USARK. It's what I can do, what I could contribute. And then I'm also going to pay my $1,000, be that little member for the year. And I want my shirts. I think I get 2 shirts. So give me 2 shirts, and I think I'm going to get 1 shirt away. Probably not. Just kidding. All right, man. But yeah, let's get moving. Let's get forward. I'm stoked about tonight because my man, Brandon Osborne, right? Been following this guy for a while. He's one of the original guys. I would say like top 10 accounts before I had before I even had a name, right? I just would follow these accounts. Brandon was one of them. I like the style. I liked his logo. But then, the proof is in the work, right? And he just put out some really, really awesome stuff. And, he was one of the first people I thought of bringing on the show. And, we're friends on Facebook, and, I fucking just hit him up and I was like, you know what? I need to get this dude on the show. And Brandon was down for it. And here he is, Brandon Osborne, Osborne Reptiles. What is up, my man?
Man, I appreciate you having me on. It's an honor to be here.
Mad respect. And like I said just now, man, I'm not kidding. You were definitely one of the original accounts that I was like, all right, if I ever want to make a brand, I looked up to your account, with a few others.
Thank you.
So respect. Thanks for being on the show, Brandon. How you doing, man? How's everything on your end?
It's good. It's been a rough last year, as I'm sure everyone else, has experienced the same thing. I've gone through some health issues in the last 6 months. It's kind of kept me away from shows, but we're trying to move on past that. So we'll be back at shows again here real soon. But with the pandemic and everything last year, we held off on breeding a lot of stuff. So 2020 wasn't a great year.
Okay.
But this year we've got a lot of new stuff that we're pairing up, some stuff that we've been raising up and kind of hiding. So hopefully it'll be an exciting year for us.
Well, I mean, I want to know first and foremost, is your health cool now? Are you good?
I'm not 100%, but I would say 80, 90. We're still trying to figure out.
Okay.
What's that?
It's kind of, but it's almost, it's heading in the right direction is all like.
Yeah, definitely. 2 months ago, I had no energy and just felt like crap all the time. So,
damn.
it is what it is. That's what happens when you get older, and
tell me about it.
Just trying to take care of myself and do the best I can. So
respect, man. Well, listen, I'm praying for you, man, and I'm sure you're gonna be fine. So we'll
appreciate it
day by day. And I'm glad you're here now because now we're we're living the now, right? So 2020 was kind of like you said that that year didn't count for a lot of people, bro. Like it was just a fucking right? So, but 2021, here we are. I know you work with heat. Anyone who knows you knows that you work with heat. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of things, just kind of explain to people like your involvement in the industry and how long you've been involved.
I've been like caring for snakes for a little over 30 years.
Okay.
I started breeding probably around 1992. And that was the year I graduated high school. So I've been doing it for about 30 years. Back in the mid 90s, I worked for a pretty successful reptile breeder / rodent breeder, who now is he's one of the go-tos for rodents, but I honestly don't care for him. So I'm not going to plug his business, but I sort of got my feet wet with, dozens and dozens of species, in my early 20s and stuff that wasn't extremely common in the hobby. And, I was able to work with these animals and learn about them, like Macklot's pythons, ring pythons, Indians, Sri Lankan pythons. We had a ton of stuff that just isn't really common in the hobby.
Right.
So it was really fun to get to learn those animals and actually get to breed them in captivity.
That's fucking awesome, man. So around what year? Around what year again? I'm sorry. Can you give me the year?
That was around 1996. I worked there for a couple of years and we were like oil and water. So I just knew it wasn't going to work out and just kind of went my separate ways. But the funny thing is about that is, taking care of, 1,500, 2,000 snakes for your day job and then going home and taking care of another 300 animals. Man, I got really, really burnt out. So I quit that job and I sold every snake I had with the exception of 4 carpet pythons, 2 king snakes, and a green tree python. Wow. And I kept those 7 snakes for about 2 or 3 years. And then I met Howie Sherman online. He's kind of an old school guy, great guy. Is pretty famous for his Okatee corn snakes, Outer Banks king snakes, and things like that. Well, I met Howie and bought a snake from him at the Orlando National Reptile Breeders Expo. It was the very last year in 1999. And at that point on, I started kind of diving into king snakes, mostly Florida kings. So back then I was well known for different Florida king morphs. That was the main focus of my collection. And then I guess it was No, it was that same year I ended up getting a pair of adult green tree pythons, and
Hell yeah.
you know, that kind of set me off on another obsession. Where at one point I had about 40 adult green tree pythons, and one of the best collections in the world. And I dabbled in ball pythons since the early 90s, and actually bred normals back in 93 is when I started breeding ball pythons, when the only morph we had was an albino, and I was a poor kid out of high school. And I knew at that point it's going to be years before I ever obtain an albino. But it was fun just breeding normals, because hell, back then imports were $8 and captive bred normals were 100. So, you know, the market's changed a little bit, but it's, in my opinion, it's stronger than ever.
Right. Yeah. And the thing with the market, right? You never know what like anything could happen with the market, good or bad, right?
Right.
Especially nowadays.
Yeah. You know, every year that topic comes up, you know, is the market crashing? Is the market oversaturated? Definitely not.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing I heard from you know, just select people that I was kind of getting information from in the beginning on like how like, oh, you know, like just kind of like bad, not really blatantly bad mouthing the hobby, but just saying that it's kind of hit like its peak. And I'm just like, what? Like, and I remember being I was also told that a snake will I was also told that a gravid female will eat through its entire trimester of having eggs too. I was misled quite
happens all the time.
Yeah. Anyways, what was I getting with that? Oh fuck, I did it again. Anyways, what were you saying just before that? I'm sorry, Brandon. Where were we talking?
I was just going on about, you know, how the hobby's changed, and
the market,
kind of what I've started with, and where I came from as far as the hobby goes in the industry. I don't really call myself an industry guy. I maintain a pretty modest collection. You know, we keep roughly, you know, 150 to 200 animals in our personal collection, so it's not a really big collection. And you know, even a good portion of those animals are things that aren't up to breeding size that we're raising up, and you know, we're trying to continually rotate things and you know, keep the projects rolling in the right directions.
Right. Okay. And then where I was getting at was the market. We were talking about the market, like how, you know, quote unquote, it's hit its peak and it's been saturated. But like, no, man, like there's endless opportunities with this ball python stuff. And I feel like almost any species. I was talking to my buddy.
Yeah.
I was talking to my buddy Steven, because we do another podcast, Unfiltered Reptile podcast. And his big thing is scrubs. Like, you know, Steven's a scrub guy, right? And they're just like, you know, there's been a couple people that like have worked, you know, a good amount of years with scrubs, but like nobody, like, I don't know, you know who Rico Wilder is, but like
Rico,
yeah, right. Like,
miss him dearly. He was a good friend.
I never met him, but like just hearing about him, like I missed the fact that I could have maybe met him someday. You know what I mean?
If you go back and look at my Facebook page, you'll see a in memory of post every year. Like I post. I love the dude.
Yeah.
He's a big. The reptile community lost one of the best people when Rico passed.
And then you know who Rico's biggest inspiration was my boy Forrest Fanning, who passed away. So like I only knew about Rico because of Forrest Fanning, how much Forrest would talk about him, and you know the emerald lines that he had came from Rico. I think he got like 12 emeralds from Rico. So man, dude, what two solid ass guys, I would tell you right now. But like, you know, I never got to meet Rico, but I knew Rico through Forrest, and Forrest always talked about Rico, bro, like all the time.
Yeah. He was an amazing person.
Yeah, man. Definitely amazing. Now with you keeping green trees, right? You said you kept chondros, right? Or you still do?
Yeah. I have one.
Okay. You have what the locality, or is it a designer? What is it?
It's an animal that I picked up secondhand from a friend who got it from Marshall with Red Mountain herps. He's down in Birmingham.
Yep.
And
Oh yeah, we know
this snake is he's bulletproof. He hates everyone, and I want to say he's going on 20 years old now, and he's still going strong. Aims for the face every time, so you know he makes life fun.
You're definitely homies with some hitters, man. So Marshall Mendez, that guy right there. I'm lucky to talk to that guy. Like, you know, I'm not gonna say he's that easy to talk to every day, but I talk to him almost every day. Like Marshall Mendez, the fucking man. He's
another great dude.
Another amazing guy, man.
When I was on tour with one of my bands, we would play Birmingham circuit quite often.
Nice.
And Marshall would always come hang out, and he would bring party favors for certain members of the band, and he might be pissed that I said that, but I mean, anybody that knows Marshall knows. So.
Bro, I was in the music industry. Every city has that guy, so we all need that guy.
Oh yeah,
it is.
Oh yeah,
that's. I respect Marshall even more now that you told me that. So. Because we all know Marshall would never tell that. You know, Marshall doesn't go out telling people that. So I mean, but I'm sure he won't.
No.
I'm sure he's not the guy. He's not the kind of guy. He's not the kind of guy to deny things either, though. Marshall's fucking.
I think he's cleaned up his act a little bit. But, you know.
Oh fuck, dude, that's crazy. So you keep the one chondro. Do you have maybe ambitions or any plans to do something more than just the one, or what's your plan with that? Because I love chondros.
You know, I've been searching for those right animals for several years now, and I just haven't been able to find the right one that speaks to me. But I'm always on the lookout for green tree pythons. When I see the one that I can't live without, nice. I'll usually snatch it up. This one was just kind of it was a one-off. A friend of mine was getting out of snakes, and he had this one snake, and a buddy of mine, we both kind of went in on this entire collection, and the green tree python ended up with me because I had more experience with them. Right.
Yeah, man, they're so easy, man. And like
once
they
you
are.
Have
what
they are
need,
easy.
and you don't. Yeah. Now breeding's a fucking other story. You know what I mean? That's when your heart gets fucking thrown up. You get spit on and
really
shit.
Easy to breed, actually.
Well, I'm talking about like this.
In my opinion.
So you're talking. So you're good at
getting eggs to hatch and getting babies to feed. That's the nightmare.
Yeah, that's what I meant by breeding. I mean, you could get anything to fucking lock. Yeah, but I'm talking about like to actually get this thing eating like clockwork for you and striking, which it's possible, but it's. Yeah. People don't understand, like when they see a clutch that has 15, green trees in it and they're all eating, like I guarantee that guy fucking had like 20 clutches that didn't make it before that clutch. You know what I mean? Like it's such a crazy numbers game.
And people wonder why they cost so much. Is like,
have
you ever put 20 hours in one feeding session for a clutch of green tree pythons? If you haven't, try it and you'll figure it out.
It's tedious, bro. I've only hatched 2, right? I've only bred 2 years, but the years I bred, I've only gotten 1 to thrive, not even thrive, but to live out of each clutch. Mm-hmm. And first one, Chapo, great. He ate first meal. I was like, wow, great. Like he started off pretty good. You know what I mean? No problems. But then the second one that I hatched last year, fucking just runs for the hills, dude. Like just takes off. And I'm like, what? Yeah. So I had to let that one go to my homie Socrates, my boy, one of my best friends, Socrates in Florida, took that for me, and he's fucking now getting into eating shit. So I'm like, nice. Yeah, dude. So
it's weird, man, how you can spend all this time on trying to get these animals established, and they just want no part of feeding or biting or striking or anything, and then you send them somewhere else, and like, dude. At 5 minutes after being in the tub, they're striking food and eating.
Oh, and I was so frustrated, Brandon, because like when I put fucking that hatchling in the box, I was more like saying goodbye. You're gonna die. Like, this is probably it, And sure enough, it almost didn't make it. Like it was in bad. Like I think it was really cold or something. Something with the heat pack malfunction, but. Like pretty much it didn't arrive as good as it was supposed to arrive.
Yeah, that's kind of the story of the year right now.
Right. So, but as soon as, you know, he got it hydrated, he got it eating, I shit you not, bro. 2 hours later, he has it striking. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and I did every trick in the book, bro. I beat the shit out of it. Not literally, but I'm just saying I beat it like, bro, I couldn't get the thing to even strike for me. And then here's Socrates like sending me a 15-second clip of it just like striking. You know what I mean? And I was like, just keep it. I don't fucking want it.
You really don't want to know how many babies I've seen just wither away because they don't want to eat. It's pretty disgusting.
Yeah, it's sad. But honestly, man, because of the damn species, I become cold. Not cold, but like when things don't, you know, if something happens to die, I just don't give a fuck no more. I don't care.
When you deal with life, you deal with death.
Yeah, exactly. You deal with it because things come and go, man. Like it's the circle of life, literally the circle of life. And you know, I you know what hard. Okay, so chondros got tough in my skin with this shit, and then so did breeding rats because I was literally I was killing off things I actually was having feelings for. You know what I mean? Like, and it was getting brutal. Like it was like you would come to things where I'd like, all right, you know, I know we spend the last 12 weeks together, and you're pretty cute, but you're dead.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, man, it's the name of the game.
That's the part my wife doesn't care for.
No, not life doesn't care. Life will always continue on, no matter what. I mean, no matter how bad, and shit can get so bad. Obviously, Brandon, like you know what I mean. I know like how bad shit can get. And does life care? No, life does not care.
Keeps going.
And you know what's funny, and not to just bring this up, but I feel like fucking Facebook is like they live in a world where it matters. Everything like, you know, stubbing your toe needs to be put out there. Like everything fucking needs to be coddled and like, oh my God, let's show it support. Like, oh, okay, guys, you know what I mean? And fuck, bro. Like, I know you're not from a generation of that at all. I know I'm not.
And really, when you get older, you realize nothing matters.
No.
You just gotta live day by day and make life what you can, and
I mean,
have a nice day.
That's it, bro. I mean, like I remember having, not that I don't care about it no more, but shit, I had a list of friends at one point, especially in the music game, DJing. Fuck, I knew everybody, you know what I mean? And I would like get fucked up and hug these people and kiss them and say, I love you. You know, we'll be brothers forever. And I mean, Jesus Christ, ever since then, everything's just gotten like smaller. And, you know, all these people that I thought they were going to be a part of my life forever. I mean, I hope they're okay. I just don't talk to them no more. I don't talk to nobody no more. I'm so in this right here, bro. And in this is my wife, my family, like my mom and dad, my sisters, and all my snakes. Like that's it. And my alpacas.
Yeah, those people are still part of your life too. They're just a different part of your life.
Yeah, they're just watching. You know, it's just, you know, but it's because you got to understand, man. I mean, not that you don't understand, but like my life is these fucking animals. I'm at a point where. You know, 3 years ago, I had 4 snakes. Now I have close to 200. I have, you know, almost, you know, I have a Bell's lace monitor, about to have 2. Like, it just things are just moving up, and I'm excited, but I don't miss a beat, bro. Like, I'm home every day. Like, I'm, you know, thanks to COVID, you know, I used to run a gym. You know, I made most of my money came from, you know, running and working at gyms, but obviously that went to shit, right? But because of that, I had no reason to leave my house at all, and I kept putting everything back into the animals. And then my breeding seasons, all my money from my breeding seasons went back into animals. So I had last year was my biggest investment year. So I made my most money breeding, but all that money went into getting more animals. So and that's how I want it to be, bro. Like it's I don't know. I'd say I don't have a life, but I do have a life because I'm living the dream. I'm having so much fun. Shit.
That's awesome, dude. Same here. I worked a day job up until last summer, and you know that chapter closed, and we decided, my wife and I, we were kind of working towards this goal anyway, of me quitting my job. She stayed at home and raised the kids, and now that the kids are in school, you know, our goal was for her to go back to work, but she is high risk for COVID, so she was going into nursing. Can't do that. That kind of put a big wrench in the spokes. And
damn.
So I decided, we're going to do it anyway, and we've made it work, and it just continues to grow and get better and better every day. And
Yeah.
I had a lady at FedEx this week kind of criticize me about keeping or shipping the snakes, and I thought to myself, I do this for a living because I love it, and I could be working a day job somewhere that I absolutely hate and be miserable, but I'm doing what I love, and I don't have to leave my house to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't have to answer to anyone.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I'll tell you what helps you get far in this world nowadays is having social skills. It really does. Like, having social skills. But you know how hard that is to have in this day and age?
It is.
Because how fucked up people are and how they judge you on everything you say, and like, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Like, bro, like, I was a different person in a gym. Like, bro, I was fucking shaking hands and kissing babies, wouldn't cuss, and I wouldn't mind that because, I would, if it was one-on-one, I would cuss, but I wasn't, to the members, I was very like, cordial, because that's how I wanted to be. But
when you get to know people, you act like yourself.
And that's when people really would like me. And that's when, you understand, I sold a lot of personal training, and, if anyone sold personal training out there, yeah, it's easy if you know what the fuck you're doing, but if you've never sold personal training, try it. Good luck. It's really, really hard. Okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, like it all came down to me being real, me sharing a story with somebody and just being genuine, because who wants to be sold anything? Nobody wants to be sold anything. Right. So just fucking be real, just say it how it is. But like I said, when I was able to just, because I came in this industry, man, and as I was growing, meeting people, I had people telling me, hey, you shouldn't cuss on your stories. You shouldn't smoke. You shouldn't do this. And I'm like, am I fucking making a page for children? Like, am I saying, hey, this is MJ Exotics for 12-year-olds? Like, no, I'm a grown man. There's other out there people who are grown men and grown women who have reptiles without kids. Doesn't all have to be about kids. This podcast ain't for children. I'm a fucking cuss. Fuck, cuss.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'll cuss all I want. But yeah, I got that vibe in the beginning of doing this, but then I stuck to my guns and I didn't care, because guess what? Do those people pay my bills? No.
Exactly.
Are they buying my snakes? No. Like, am I buying snakes from them? No. You know what I mean? All knows. So, and that's why I do appreciate everyone who does fuck with this channel, even you being here, because how real I am. I just, I don't like to sugarcoat shit, and
I'm the same way. And a lot of people dislike that, or they think I'm an asshole because of it.
Right.
I'm just being nice. I don't want to tell someone something that isn't truthful coming out of my mouth just to make them feel good. I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but I'm going to tell you the truth. And that's kind of the older I get, the less filtered I am, and I try to do it in a tactful way, but a lot of times people don't want to hear the truth.
Brandon, how many people out there, and I'm one of them, but how many people out there have dealt with somebody who you thought liked you this entire time, but it turned out it was never that way? You know what I mean? Or it never was what you thought it was. You know what I mean? And it's because there's people who are just passive aggressive, or just they can't say how it is. They can't, but when you're not around, they could say how it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
That right there is that's to me, that's living a miserable life. If you can't just express how you feel and you could harbor it and hide it, if you could put it somewhere and put a fucking fake ass smile on, like a lot, like, dude, that's nuts. That takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work.
It eats away at you.
It does. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah.
But
I'm like naturally, I'm a very introverted person anyway. That's probably why I play drums.
That's funny. Why is that? Okay, it's funny you said that, because my uncle Jamie's a drummer. Okay, and he's like, I don't know. I guess my uncle Chuck, he plays bass, but I don't know. I think guys in bands, other than the singers, are kind of introverts. Like, they're not like, kind of, I don't know. As bass players and drummers kind of the same
bass
thing?
Players and drummers, yeah. Usually the guys that are kind of laid back and just kind of.
The chicks want them the most.
Yeah.
That's one thing I was always told, that the chicks always want the drummers, and
I got the hot chick that I wanted, so
It's exactly. There you go. Winning. Ship
Exactly.
it. Ship it.
Yeah.
Dude, okay. I mean, I'm a huge music guy, man. I love music. So are you a metalhead, or what kind of band were you in? Like, I got to hear this.
Um, I kind of grew up being a metalhead, but I listened to everything, from back in the 70s when I was a kid, in the early 80s. My grandparents, they listened to classic country.
Okay. Cool.
80s, I grew up on the 80s pop and the 80s hair metal scene. And so
Yeah.
I like a wide variety of music. The last serious band I played in was a band called Sideshow Romance. We put out 2 CDs that really, it is so hard to get any traction in the music industry.
It is. Dude, it's
Everything about it is crooked and shady.
tough. It is.
And people would always say, yeah, you're on tour. It must be awesome. This like crazy party lifestyle. You're getting everything handed to you. It's like, no,
Really.
it's a lot of work. It's tough. It's tiresome. And stressful. Exactly. Yeah. It's like being married to 5 different people that all have these combative, different personalities, and they may be in a good mood one day and a shitty mood the next day, and getting in a fight with their girlfriend or wife and taking it out on you. And so, I mean, it is a juggling act, but it was, some of the best times of my life too.
Yeah, it just made you grow up so much. I'm sure, like it's probably made you learn a lot about yourself and whatnot. I'm sure there's a lot of things you used to do that you'll never do again, and like that sort of
right.
thing.
Yeah. I've always been kind of a need to know personality, where I want everything. Like, I want to know what the schedule is.
Yeah,
I get detail. What time do we need to be here? When is sound check? When is our, how long are our sets? And 2 weeks into being on tour, I was like, all right, fuck it. Because when are we supposed to be there? 2 hours ago. Oh, okay, cool.
God. Yeah, dude. That kind of communication would drive me nuts.
Yeah, it was stressful at times, but like I said, it was also some of the best times of my life. I miss touring, but I don't know if it would be something that I could do anymore. Just the amount of travel and no sleep. It was tough.
Yep. I just, I love the music so much, man. I really did, but my heart just wasn't like my heart was more into being notified and getting popularity versus actually creating stuff, because one thing I did, I was good at playing out. I was good at playing other people's music, but it was never my music.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, coming down to producing it's hard, bro. Like, obviously making music, especially when you want it to how you want it, like, I'm particular. Yeah. So dude, I ran into walls just like wanting to give up multiple times. And every time I did make something that got me noticed somewhat, it was something that I wanted to give up on a million times, and I got lucky.
Yeah, writing music is one of those things that you either have it or you don't. I think some people just have that gift to where they can just have a melody pop in their head, and they just go and sit down, and 30 minutes later they've got a hit song. I've got a buddy that's like that. I mean, the dude is one of the most phenomenal drummers I've ever known, and he's an amazing guitar player, songwriter on top of that, and he just writes his own stuff. He basically just quit playing with people and started writing and recording his own material by himself, and he's been doing that for several years. And when he gets enough, when he gets a good catalog, he'll just hire guys and to learn his material, and he'll go out and play shows. But he's an amazing guy, and I wish I had that gift. I'm not a guitar player, but I know melody and I can write songs. I enjoy doing it. I just don't have the time to do it anymore.
Yeah, I got a guitar when I was 10, and I learned the riff of like one Nirvana song, and then my mom hold my guitar, and I was so sad. But then at the end of the day, I knew like how hard it was. I think maybe if I would have kept it going at that age, but like I never got the whole playing an instrument down. I got down how to play on a MIDI controller. I learned how to hit notes and stuff, but like, you know, never played an actual fucking drum set, never played a bass or a guitar. I wish. I mean, that's one not regret I could say, because I could still do it now if I wanted to. But man, I mean, I wish I would have knew if I had that natural like talent, because my uncle, like I said, who plays, you know, and it's like I love seeing them jam all the time. It's fucking sick.
Yeah, I never had any formal training or anything. I think I took my first drum lesson, my first and only drum lesson. It was 15 years after I had already been playing. So I just wanted to see kind of how the fundamentals are taught. But no, I literally learned from watching Jeremy Spencer from Five Finger Death Punch. He and I went to school together when we were kids. So, you know, I would go to his house after school. We would hang out, and I would just watch him play drums. And it's kind of one of those things, just watching him do it. I just sat down and started playing.
You just soaked it up.
It just came naturally to me. But yeah, I bought my first drum set from him. When I was 12 years old, 12 or 13, and it was all downhill from there, man.
You were young.
I knew that I wanted to play music from that point, and you know, I didn't go to college until I was, you know, 30 something, and college wasn't for me. It was just always in my blood. I had an artistic brain, and that's what I wanted to do.
Wow.
You know, did it for a living for several years, just touring the country and having a blast.
So you mentioned that, you know, what was the gentleman's name that you're learning guitar from? You would go watch him play. What was his name?
That I learned drums from, Jeremy Spencer.
I'm sorry, drums. Yeah. So Jeremy Spencer. So you just said that you would go over watch him, and you soaked a lot of that knowledge just by watching him, right? That person you were talking earlier in the show that you didn't want to mention that you worked for, that it didn't turn out to be too good. Is that kind of what you did working with him? Like, even though you didn't get along with him too well, like, were you able to soak most of your fucking knowledge and stuff during that time? Is that something you really did during that time?
I actually, he was someone that just had money, and he befriended another really, really good friend of mine locally that's been breeding boas and rainbow boas for 30 plus years. He was a guy that had money and bought a shit ton of snakes and set up a 5,000 square foot facility of all these different snakes. And gosh, I think at the time that was like, there was a big craze for leucistic Texas rats in the Japanese market. And I think we had set up, I want to say it was like 120 adult leucistic Texas rat snakes. That was like one whole wall of nothing but leucistic Texas rats. And but he really didn't know shit about snakes. He had bred Burmese pythons, which, you know, that's like breeding corn snakes pretty much. But that was his main claim to fame. And, you know, he became good friends with Bob Clark, or I say good friends. I think they were just kind of acquaintances.
I was thinking you were thinking of Bob Clark, but nope, I'll eliminate that name.
No, no. This guy runs a very large rodent business now. So,
damn it! All right,
just put two and two together, and
okay.
But
I think I know what you're talking about.
I really didn't learn shit from him, and if anything, he learned a few tricks from me. But no, I learned a lot of stuff from when I was fresh out of high school. There was an older guy that you know, he sold snakes out of the newspaper, and I would go to his house and bother him for hours at a time, and he was patient enough to, you know, sit and talk to me and explain these things and go over different genetics. And a really great guy. You know, if I could say it, I probably owe it all to him. His name's Jack Sturgeon. Still good friends with his son. His son Baker keeps a lot of snakes, and you know, he and I talk every now and then. But yeah, I pretty much watched his son grow up. But that's where I kind of learned the fundamentals of snakes and snake keeping and breeding and everything else. He was a huge help.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, as far as like you really telling yourself like, all right, I need to make this a business, right? What was the turning stone for that? Like at what point was it when you quit and you sold everything, or when was it when you, like, you know, you decided you want to make Osborne Reptiles?
You know, my wife had a lot to do with that.
Your wife.
You know, I met her. We've been together for going on 11 years now, and you know, I met her when I was on tour. I was actually married at the time and separated, but you know, she and I really hit it off when we met, and she kept in contact, kind of, you know, showed up at gigs here and there when we were in the area, and you know, she's the one that kind of pushed me forward and really to make this happen. And you know, she comes out here and cleans with me and takes care of the rats. You know, it's a 50-50 operation. You know, I owe just as much of my success to her.
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
But you know, we decided to go full time probably, you know, 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
Like I said, she's been a stay-at-home mom, and you know, now that the kids are in school, she was a nurse before, so she renewed her nursing license, was going to go back to work in the fall of 2020, and then COVID happened, and we were kind of like, you know, well, that kind of screws our plans. Right. But we made it work anyway, and you know, it was the best decision that I could have ever made.
Hell yeah. Props. And then props to your wife again. What's your wife's first name?
Jamie.
Props to Jamie. Tell her the trap says she has like mad support over here, so that's tight.
She might be laying in bed watching. I don't know.
Well, shout out to you, Jamie. You're a real one. Shout out to all the real wives out there who support their men. Because like I said, that saying, man, behind every strong man is a stronger woman. That is so legit real. Like I know because my grandma's proof of that, for one thing. And then, you know, and my wife, you know, I'm just like, bro, I mean, I would be nothing without my wife, straight up. My wife got me out of so much turmoil. Like my wife, and I kept wanting to go down that route. And even if, you know, but I loved her. So, you know, but she did make me choose, and I thank God I made the right decision. But
same here.
Yeah.
It was, I was kind of going into a place that I really didn't want to go, and she pulled me out of it. And you know, it was while I was on tour, and it was really, really stressful time for me. And you know, I owe everything I have to her.
Respect. Now, since obviously your wife, I mean, I think your wife does has some say, or like some like, hey, I think we should hold that one back, right? And does she look at any of the babies at all?
Yeah. No, she actually takes care of all the babies. She takes care of the redfoot tortoises. You know, she really babies all these animals, and especially the tortoises. That's kind of her thing. And you know, the tortoises are so damn cute that, you know, she comes in here every morning and soaks them for, you know, a couple hours, and really gets her hands dirty. She's not afraid of it.
That's what's up.
I'll tell you a funny story. Whenever I was still working, we were at our old house, and we didn't have near the collection we do now, but I had a carpet python, and she would go out, and while I was at work, she would clean the snakes. And so she called me one day, and I had just gotten this head albino carpet python. And this was back when, you know, albinos were, you know, $5,000 to $7,000. And so I had a little bit of money in this hat. And so she calls me at work and she's like, I just got bit by that carpet python and accidentally kind of slung her across the room. And I was like, is she okay?
How's the snake?
That's the first thing out of my mouth. Is the snake okay?
Oh my God, bro. So it's funny you bring that up because I've told the story already, but I'll say it again. But I was at, Brian, who Brian Cusco is?
Yeah.
So we did a podcast at Brian Cusco's house, and I'm literally like, we do the sound check, and I'm like, all right, we have like 2 minutes before we go live, right? Like what we just went through. And literally a minute goes down, and Lily, my wife, knows that I'm about to go live, and she calls me, and I'm like, why is she calling me? Like, and it's a FaceTime, and I'm like, what? Like, so I answer it, and she's like, babe, and then we had this green tree python that went missing for like 2 months, and she fucking found it in the room, like it was in the room, and I was like, is it dead? She's like, no, it's alive. I'm like, dude, grab it. You need to grab it. She's like, I don't want to get bit. And I was like, listen, you're gonna get bit sooner or later. It's not that bad. And like, I was like, I gotta go. I was like, listen, I gotta go. You need to catch that snake. I was like, that snake is important. I started telling her what my project plans were for it. Like literally, I was like, listen, go grab a lid. I started giving her as much as instructions as I could within 30 seconds. And I ended it and like not knowing what the fuck was gonna happen, but sure enough, she got it put away and like,
Did she get a good tag or
no, she did it, and she didn't get bit. I was hoping she would get bit.
See, that's what usually happens. The people that are most afraid to get bitten by something like that, and they're so scared of it, and the snakes never bite them, and then as soon as you even reach for it, you get tagged.
Yeah, Lily won't get bit. She won't. She just won't. It's just that she knows it's not like the worst thing on earth, but it's just that initial anxiety of feeling, and
that's what it is. It's anxiety.
That's it. Bless my wife's heart. Either way, listen, she won. She got the fucking thing in. I'm staring at it. It's alive. It's gaining weight. Yeah. It's great. God bless.
That's what counts.
Yes. Good one. That's a win. All right. So since we're kind of talking about trial and errors, right? What were some of the things in the beginning, right? Because I mean, it's so nerve-wracking, right? When you decide I want to do something full-time where like it's your business and stuff. But did you run into any obstacles once that happened? Like, did your first year, did you have like some clutches that didn't like, were there just some things that you had to learn right off the bat, like, trial and errors that stick out in your head?
As long as I've been doing this, I would say the biggest trial and error obstacle that I've faced has been caging. Back when I started, rack systems weren't really that prevalent. So, I mean, there was a lot of like really janky looking homemade cages. And I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment, and I had a 4 foot by 8 foot by 4 foot Burmese python cage that had like 2 or 3 adults in it. And, had I known then, when I'm 19, that it's not easy to feed 3 adult Burms, and without having them separated, that was a task.
Fuck, so dude.
I learned quickly.
Oh my God!
But as far as incubating and breeding and things like that, I can't really say that there were any major obstacles. It was just kind of I learned as I went. I read every single book I could 10 times, cover to cover. And that's a lot of people, nowadays they can just get on the internet, look up anything they need to. When I started, the internet wasn't a thing.
Right. You got to know people.
Yeah. There was nothing like Morph Market. So, to get a price list from someone, you'd have to send a self-addressed stamped envelope, and they would send you a list back, and you would call them on the phone. Imagine that.
Yeah.
But wait, no, I mean, I still gravitate toward the species that I've always liked the most. And it's not that I don't like other things, you know, it's just I kind of have my preference, and I'm not one of those people that, you know, I don't have to have everything. I could admire it in someone else's collection and cheer them on and be like, dude, that's awesome animals. Would love to produce something like that, but you know, it's not in my project, not in my forte. So, you know, I think the biggest obstacle probably is just maintaining focus and just staying the course, because there's so many directions that you can go, especially in ball pythons, that, you know, I think that's a big thing for a lot of people, especially new keepers, is it's hard to focus and maintain those goal projects without seeing something new and wanting to go in that direction or this direction over here. But no, I mean, I've just kind of learned from my mistakes, and, you know, and sharing information is the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think personally what some people may struggle with, just an observation, is that when they want to get into this hobby, right, you know, and they see these really high-end combos and these high-end snakes make fucking X, Y, and Z, and they're this amount to sell, they're like, wow, that's what I want to do. So they get on this hype about, like, I'm going to be rich breeding ball python because that's what I'm going to do. But then they don't understand that, you know, these people that are hitting these kind of clutches, these aren't the only snakes that they're breeding. They're breeding a shit ton of other clutches. Like, there's so many odds at play. Like, there's so many.
Yeah.
And either way, like you build up to that is what I'm trying to say, right? You got to put things in your pipeline that's going to help you build to that. Like, you got to spread things out, build that foundation, which a lot of people they try to skip that. You know, they want to just fucking shoot to the top, you know, and just be a fucking multi-recessive combo breeder and outdo all these other people, right? But in reality, like, that's not longevity in my eyes. I don't see how you know, because you're going to be let down, for one thing, because let's be real, it's a numbers game. Like, you know, it's just because ball pythons are easy, but they're not guaranteed to give you clutches. They're not at all.
Yeah. You know, I always kind of make that point too, is, you know, you think it's going to work out a certain way, and it doesn't. And with some of these, you know, people that don't take the time to respect what it takes to grow these animals up and you know, start from a hatchling and raise it up to a breeder, and, you know, they want. I get emails almost weekly. Hey, do you have any adult female pieds you want to sell? No, I don't, because they're worth way more to me than the market. So why would I sell this snake for what I can get for one of its babies? And it's not about the money. It's just, it's the passion that I have for it, that I like my snakes. It's not easy for me to let go of something that I put so much time into. Just the other day, there was a post. I shared a picture of the banana camo and a Mojave urban camo, and somebody posted on there, you know, you're lucky to have these snakes. And I was basically like, yes, I am, but I also spent 15 years in this project. So yes, I am lucky, but there's a lot of work that went into that. You know, I've been trying to hit a banana urban camo for, gosh, 3 years now, and 2 people beat me to it. So congratulations to them. Nicole at 8-Bit Pythons. She hatched a couple of them. I hatched 2 of them this year. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into all these projects that, yeah, I consider myself lucky to have what I have, but I've also worked my ass off to get there too.
And it's not as easy as like, oh, you made that, well, sell me this and sell me that so I can make it. It doesn't work.
Right. Yeah.
Like, motherfuckers, like, they come with like, I got the money, don't worry about it. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about your money. Like, you know, one thing, my biggest lesson I learned last year, and no offense, you'll never see me fucking sell a female het anymore. Sorry, there's no point, because in my eyes that's a visual, and then I rather raise that female, breed it, prove that it's a visual, like a visual, and then really make what I want to make off of it, and then I'll fucking sell it as a proven versus a het. You know what I mean? But I held back like fucking 12 banging ass het clowns, het pieds last year that they look amazing. Like they don't look like, they obviously have like that influence that shows you obviously I'm something, right? So I don't, you know, I'm like Will Morrows with that shit. I'm not selling it. I'm gonna hold on to it. I'm gonna breed it up. I'm gonna raise it up. I'm gonna breed the living shit out of it. And then I'm gonna, you know,
I've got some Cypress het clown combo girls that I held back, and man, they just look so much different than a regular Cypress. It's amazing.
Damn.
So much cleaner and just brighter looking, and the pattern is like really kind of just jumbled up more. So yeah, I totally get you, man. I get what you're saying. I held back, gosh, probably 40 more pieds and het pied girls last year, and some clowns, and yeah, probably do the same this year.
All right, we're gonna revert back to your accomplishment because this is fucking sick. Like,
yeah, that's the one.
Just banging right here. This is, I'll tell you what, Brandon, I'm not gonna lie, this was one of the snakes that I really wanted to make, but I knew how far-fetched it was for me that I don't want to say I gave up, but my dreams definitely transitioned into different species because of combos like these, because how fucking amazing it is. But it scared me to think about how hard it is to accomplish something like that. I'm talking about like the years and the investment and stuff. I just didn't want to, it wasn't something I wanted to go up against. So props to you, bro, because bro, like this thing is just fucking tits, bro. Like,
thank you, appreciate it.
Animal like this is what you legit call living art. Like this is living art. This don't make sense. You know what I mean? Really, like you'll never find something like this in the wild, obviously. But fuck, bro. Like I kind of let's kind of dig deep on what it was you had to raise and breed to make, you know, the camo is what I want to know.
So it started out as a project I wanted to do. I found this crazy looking pewter, and back then pewter was still a fairly new combo, believe it or not. This was 2006. Found this amazing female pewter, and she didn't look like anything else that I'd seen, you know, in that combo. So, you know, I ended up picking her up. I raised her up, bred her to a pied, produced these pretty normal looking pewter het pieds. I did notice there was visual striping on them from the het pied as a het pied marker from the cinnamon side. But that's just a side note. So I raised these snakes up, and this was about the time that I was also going on tour for the first time. So my collection went to a really good friend of mine, Clint Bartley Reptiles. He's another guy you should have on. He does specializes in Asian rat snakes.
All right, I'll write that
producing
one down.
Some killer stuff.
Bartley
Reptiles. But Clint had my stuff, and you know, I remember sitting in the back of the van going down the highway, and he called me, and he said, man, I don't know what this is, but you're going to be real happy. And he sent me pictures of it, and it was the Urban Camo, first one. And that was 2010. So at that point, there was only 4 years in the project, and it was a side note from the project. It wasn't even something that we expected. So with that snake hatched a normal super pewter, a sandblast sterling, which at the time I thought was a super pewter because it had just a very faint stripe on the neck, and it was pretty much solid, you know, silver color. And there was also a sandblast super pastel. This is the beginning stages of this project. We just thought we had these nice looking animals, no big deal. Thought it was a het pied gene causing this stuff. But you know, as time went on, other animals produced from that original female that didn't have anything to do with the pi gene were producing these sandblast looking animals that had this pattern that was just kind of like it is, sandblasted off of it.
Right.
Then 2 years after that, we hatched another urban camo, and I was like, yeah, you know, it could still be a fluke. Well, the next year we hatched 2 or 3 of them, and then hatched a couple more combos off of some other stuff. And we just kind of, we were confined on space because I, you know, up until 2 years ago, I was in like a 12 by 12 bedroom. That's all the snakes I had. I had maybe 70 or 80 snakes.
Wow.
So, you know, the last 2 or 3 years we've been in the building here, and I've been able to expand on the project. So, you know, we're just going to see where we can take it. The banana camo project started about 4 years ago, and you know, I tried for, I think I tried hitting that in 18, 19, and 20, and missed on all 3 of those seasons, and then hatched. Or no, it was last year was the season we finally hit. It was at the end of the year. Finally hit on the banana camo, and the one you see on the right hand side of the picture is the Mojave Silver Bullet urban camo.
Silver Bullet. Oh my God, what a movie! Have you seen that movie?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Classic. Classic. So did you name it the Silver Bullet? Was that you, or is that, or
no, that was just the name of the super cinnamon pastel combo.
Got it.
You know, the name urban camo was just kind of a community consensus on the name. I didn't come up with it. I think it was officially named on ballpythons.net by the forum, you know,
Official.
the ball python forum there.
Official.
So I thought it was a pretty fitting name too.
Now you mentioned sandblast, right? And I'm going to pull this snake up because this is badass. It's a pastel sandblast pied, right?
Could be. I don't know. I've got a lot of them.
Yeah, this is what it says in the caption. So I just want to.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but the whole sandblast thing, like, what's up with the sandblast?
You know, I get asked like what a single gene sandblast looks like all the time. I don't have the animals to produce a normal single gene sandblast. You know, it's not part of my goal. My buddy Josh at Trademark Exotics, he's hatched a few of them, and he's killing it with sandblast and urban camo stuff.
Trademark Exotics. Thanks for reminding me about that. That guy's sick.
Yeah, he's got some killer stuff too. Really good dude too. But no, the sandblast, it when it's like a single pastel, it usually makes them dirty. As you can see in this picture, it's bright, but it's still very dirty looking. When you put it with that super pastel, it almost like super cleans it and does the opposite of what the single pastel gene does, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But they do tend to keep that bright orange yellow, but they just get like almost dirty, like I said, dirty looking, sooty looking. Single gene, like pastel sandblast, just het pied, they're a little dirtier, but they have like fading, a lot more fading in the sides, fading in the top of the pattern, kind of a granity look on the sides. It's a subtle morph by itself. You know, kind of like some yellow bellies. You can't tell are really yellow bellies until you get to looking at them.
Right. And start.
But I honestly couldn't tell you if I've produced a normal single gene sandblast, because that was probably in the early years of the project, and there's a good chance I sold some without even knowing it. Because I definitely sold a lot of sandblast pewters and things like that as just kind of oddball pewters, and you know, people got deals. So
Yep.
But then we took a few more years and proved it out and continue to kind of build on the project. I've got a sandblast sterling Mojave female that I'm going to put a blackhead pied to and see what I get out of that.
Damn. So blackhead, where are you at with blackhead? You have a lot of involvement with blackhead?
Man, I don't have a lot of blackhead stuff. I just kind of pick up things here and there. And right now I've got a blackhead cine het genetic stripe, a blackhead het genetic stripe female, and a blackhead pied male. So I don't have a lot of stuff, but it's something that I want to play around with and see what I can get.
Okay. So other than blackhead, what's another codom that you really like, or that you have floating around in your projects?
Red stripe. Produced a handful of red stripe pieds, mahogany. Got a couple suma pieds and a lot of mahogany pied stuff, and kind of doing some good stuff in that project. Panther's another gene that kind of popped up out of some animals I got from Jeff Holloway a few years ago. So produced our first clutch of Panthers last year. Held back a super Panther from that breeding that we're going to raise up and try to kind of, back engineer that gene.
A super Panther? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, super Panther, super pastel, pied.
Oh, tight.
Yeah.
Never knew to see. I mean, like I'm still green with the ball pythons. Never even heard of a fucking Panther before.
Well, yeah, it's a gene that came from Europe and it found its way over here in a couple of guys' collections, and it's sort of kind of made the rounds in a roundabout way, and without people knowing it was in their collections. I think Pete Call had a lot of it in his pied collection, and so when his collection was distributed, a lot of the information disappeared with it. But there were certain people that knew Pete well enough to see these animals that some of these breeders ended up with and said, oh yeah, that's one of Pete's Panther pieds. And so it's out there. It's kind of gaining a little bit more traction here in the US, but it's mainly in Europe. So I just happened to, luck upon, getting some animals that have that gene in it.
Now, I'm gonna ask you, because I feel like this is important. I really do. I only know about Pete Call because of Forrest, so I've heard Pete Call stories and shit. But what do you know about Pete Call, bro? And tell people who Pete Call was or is.
Pete was a rock star, man. He was. He's one of the pioneers of the industry. He's been there. I don't want to say the pioneers of the hobby because he's not that old. But he was one of those guys that in the early days, in the like 80s and the early 90s, that kind of set the bar for breeders. And he was kind of on that level with Bob Clark and Brian Barczyk even back then, with that's where you wanted to be. He kind of set that as far as boa breeders. He was the go-to guy for boas. So that's the Pete Call I know. He created his own strain of albinos. He proved pied ball pythons were genetic. He's the guy that did it. So in my eyes, I'm a pied guy. That was my thing. And when I saw the first pied, proven genetic, these beautiful babies hatched, I was like, I have to have one of those someday. And again, being a 20-something-year-old kid, I didn't have that kind of money. So, I kind of saved my pennies here and there. And
that was serious money, bro. That was like crazy. And even to the even today, that's crazy money. Like that's like, it's wild to me when I have somebody on here who's been doing this since like 90s, and you know, back when fucking normals were a couple grand and stuff, or like just like back when like things were just like when a different ball game, like and that's why people don't understand also like how much easier it is nowadays. Like we got it made. Like, dude, we have access to everything. Like, you know what I mean? Podcast being one of them. Like we just have access to everything now. So props, you know, but dude, at the end, like props to people who had to fucking fight for their information and be patient, build relationships and get pictures in the mail. Like, dude, were you part of that era where you got pictures?
Oh, yeah. That's why I mean, you send off a stamped envelope to someone, you got back pictures and a price list, and that's how, you know, that's how I learned about albino ball pythons, is getting a price list from Bob Clark, and in the price list was a picture, a Kodak picture of albino ball pythons, and I was just, you know, blown away. This was 1992 when I saw this, and you know, but that's how it was back then. You either had to call someone on the phone or you wrote them a letter and sent it to them in the mail, and that's how you corresponded. And back then, this kind of tells you how things have changed. Back then, to talk to someone on the phone long distance was like $1 something a minute, and it was crazy. Nobody had that kind of time or money to spend on the phone and bullshit with someone. They just, here, I'll send you an envelope, send me a price list, and if I see something, I'll call you and talk to you for 5 minutes, and then you can send it. That's kind of how it was back then.
That's a wild time.
You know, it's funny. The first reptile shows started in a basement in Ohio. That's where the All Ohio Reptile Show started, was in, I believe it was Don Hamper's basement.
Damn.
And, that was the first official reptile show in the United States.
Wow.
Was the All Ohio Reptile Show.
I didn't know Don Hamper was that, like, I know he's OG, but like that's heavy right there to say. I started the first show in my basement. That is sick.
Yeah, the breeders in that area would get together and bring over snakes, and you know, they would either buy or sell or trade, you know, whatever. That's how it all started.
Damn, I admire that, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. Now, what would you say the biggest, you know, other than us having access to information, like what are you seeing? Like quality wise, I mean, are things just becoming better based off what you were seeing in your earlier days, or do you feel like some of it's getting watered down, or like what do you think?
No, I mean, I think it's getting better. I think the hobby overall is getting better. I think the industry is getting better. You know, I wish breeders were a little more friendly with each other. You know, because we have to rely on each other to make all of this work. We can't just have these guys over here and these guys over here, and you know, we all have to work together to make this last and keep it going.
Glad you mentioned that.
But you know, overall, I think that everything is getting better and better. The shows are getting bigger. There seems to be a very strong community, which is great.
Yeah,
you know, we need to keep that going.
And honestly, man, like this is what, you know, and I'm talking from my own experience. This is what I've actually went through, right? Is like the whole dividing thing. Like I don't see that on Instagram. Like I don't, like, I feel like so many people, like, especially with the USARK thing, like so many people are sharing each other's stories, they're coming together, and like it's a supportive. And then you go to fucking Facebook, right?
I hate Facebook.
You get into these fucking groups, man. And what's crazy, it's like these groups are big, but the ones, the mobs, the ones who start all this shit, they're it's like night and day who these people are. It's fucking you go in there and it's like, oh, these fucking assholes. Like they're the one that they stir all this shit up, and they bring these people in to back them up who don't even know what the fuck's going on, and they just jump on the bandwagon, right? And that's a toxic side of the shit. But at the end of the day, man, toxic people don't want to make shit right. They don't ever want to make shit right. And that's the problem. So what do you have to do? What do you have to do to someone who's so toxic that no matter what you do to try to make amends, it doesn't work for them? You disconnect. You just have to simply disconnect. So
exactly,
Facebook is so disconnected now. Like it's literally a fucking elephant graveyard. I've called this before, and it sucks because there's some like, you know, there's people that I've met. Like I've met you through Facebook. So there's so many good gems that are still that in Facebook that you should really keep a relationship with. And you know, like, you know, I met Marshall through Facebook and like Bill Stiegel through Facebook, like all these legit people who I consider really good friends of mine and I met through Facebook, you know. But when you talk about unity and come together, those are the ones who I good luck. I'll never reach out to them, but those are the ones who refuse to just kind of put the pitchforks down, stop canceling people, stop like let's just fucking work together because nobody's perfect, right? Like who the fuck is perfect? People fuck up. Everyone fucks up, you know? Yeah. It's like people look for someone to fuck up to just, let's get this motherfucker.
Pitchforks and
And the next, and then the poor person who defends the person in the comics, let's get this motherfucker next.
Right.
God damn. You know what I mean? Like fucking issues, bro. Like
it's snowball effect, man.
And Brandon,
it really is.
Another thing that bothers me, Brandon, is there's a lot of fucking the leaders in this industry, not all of them, but there's leaders in the industry who refuse to step up and fucking say what's right. They rather just brush it under the rug and say, nah, man, just ignore it. Like that's the problem with this fucking industry is there's the people who should be making them as much noise are quiet and they're just letting shit get slept under the fucking rug. Okay. Yeah. Because you know why? They're making the most money. So they don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? And no, I'm not going to call on anybody, even though I want to really bad, but I'm not going to call on anybody. But that's the problem. That's another part of unity that we don't have. They're the big motherfuckers out there who kind of love this Facebook fucking drama, and it's terrible. But, you know, they're the ones that keep these people going. You know what I mean? So and it's terrible, man. It really is. But at the end of the day, man, fuck Facebook. Go to Instagram. Instagram's the positive vibe. That's the big wave. That's where people are selling their animals. People are fucking growing relationships. Instagram, man, I fuck with Instagram so much, and I fuck with Facebook. I get a tiny bit, but I'm talking about the groups, man. You know what I'm talking about. I don't need to dig too much into this. It's plain out there. It's writings on the wall. But at the end of the day, you are right, man. We have to fucking put shit down and just come together because it's not about us. It's about the animals, bro. Like,
you know
exactly. I mean? Yeah. About so-and-so's YouTube channel. It's about that they're trying to put their animals out there. Like people get so mad at people who do YouTube. Oh, they're just doing this for views and likes. Right. No, they're not lazy. How about that? How about they're not lazy and they're not scared to show their face. They're not hiding their fucking face in a basement talking all this shit and trying to bring people down. You know, because the most people, and I don't want to keep talking about this, but the most people like to talk shit are the ones who don't show their face. You go to their fucking profile, they don't even have any pictures of themselves. You know, and that's right there. It's a sign of fucking toxic. They're ill. They got something wrong with them. But anyways, I'm glad you noticed that. Yeah. At the end of the day, we're not going to go. We're not going to go anywhere without being together, bro. That's it. That's
right. Yeah, and I you know, I kind of see both sides of it. You know, people that just don't want the drama, but you know, I do agree with you. There are faces that that should be the mouthpiece for the industry and for us. And you're right. A lot of them stay quiet. I'm not one. I'm not one.
I'm not one, motherfuckers. They're pissed.
I kind of voiced my concerns a couple of weeks ago on Facebook, you know, and I try to stay as tactful as I can, but still getting my point across. You know, we all need to work together and not point fingers. And, you know, like you said, we're human. We all make mistakes. If you haven't, then, you know,
doubt
you've got a golden ticket to heaven, and, you know, you're going to run the place up there.
I guarantee you shit on yourself at some point as a baby or something. That's a mistake.
Right. Hell, you know.
Yeah. Don't act like
get a little older and you might shit on yourself still.
Right. Yep, let them know exactly.
But no, there's just too much arguing, and you know, I've always said there's a million ways to keep these snakes, and you know what might work for me might not work for you, that doesn't make my way wrong or your way wrong. It
Right.
just, it's not right for us. My way works great for me. But don't criticize me because it's not the same way that you keep your stuff. I think that's a big part of it is the elitist mentality. And I hate to use that word, but it's the most fitting word.
Right.
There's there are a lot of egos that, maybe they're warranted, but an ego is not a good thing in my book. Confidence is one thing, but having an ego is definitely a mood killer in my book.
I feel like if you have a legit ego, because everyone has an ego. I don't like everyone has some sort of an ego, right? And it just depends on how you do that, like what you do with that ego. Because if you don't have an ego, that means you're not exciting yourself enough. You're not really.
Well, let me rephrase and say, having an ego, everyone has an ego when they're in their element.
Right.
So
100%. That's what I meant.
They should use the ego to their advantage and in a positive way, rather than putting someone down or pointing fingers because someone said this or didn't say this. And at the end of the day, none of it matters.
What's crazy too, Brandon, is like you got to understand a lot of these people, or just anyone in general, just in generalities, who have a big ego, who want to put a big front on what it's not, are people who aren't at their goal yet, but they want it so bad. They just want it so bad. Because when you meet somebody who's been doing what they're doing and they love it, and it's something they're used to doing, they're laid back. There's nothing for them to brag about. Like, look at my pay. You know what I mean? The proof is in the content. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you have the people making the most noise are the ones who don't have the shit to prove. You know what I mean? They're just talking. Yeah. They're just making a lot of noise. So everybody wants to be famous. And there's different levels of being famous. I'm just saying everybody wants to be something, right? Everybody wants to be somebody, period. And some of them just don't want to work and wait for it. They just want to say that they are somebody, even though they're fucking not. It's it's an ego thing, right? So it's terrible. But at the end of the day, man, if you're doing this for the animals, all that shit is irrelevant because you're just trying to do right by what you keep. And you want to, what I want to do is I want to progress. I want to continue on. I have dreams of what I want to do with this stuff. Right. But day by day, right. Hopefully, things could stop right now, shit, I could lose this by tomorrow. Who knows? Things could happen just like that. Right. All I'm saying is everything I do is for the sake of the animals, dude. This podcast is for the sake of learning more about the animals. That's it. Everything we do is about the animals. So I don't understand why anyone would want to keep someone from wanting to learn or grow with animals if they're really on the, if they're mentally in the right place and they want to do that. Why wouldn't you want to help someone accomplish that? Because it all helps each other. Like it helps us. USARK, everything. We're on the same team. We're literally all on the same team.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
So, I hope that once people actually start accomplishing their own goals, hopefully the egos do drop down and they fucking get over themselves and they just say, hey, look, it's just a part of the game and just continue on. And then, I don't know.
Yeah. With anything, any hobby, any industry, there's always going to be bigger personalities that are kind of out there in the front. And, I've never been one to overstep my boundaries, and I'm always kind of cautious about what I say, and I don't want to say the wrong thing. I do my best not to offend anyone, but I'm also, like I said, I'm real, and sometimes I may say something that you don't agree with, but that doesn't necessarily mean that if we don't agree on something that we can't be friends. I've got a lot of friends that I disagree wholeheartedly with on many topics, but if they needed a place to stay, I would open my door any day. So
right. Did you run into that issue at all as far as like somebody like like you knew somebody didn't want to give you information, it was kind of like, all right, I didn't know this, I already know, like you're
I've run into that a lot over the years. People that just don't want to divulge information because they're, it may be a monetary thing or a pride thing. I don't know. I've always been open about my projects, and people ask me what genes are in what. I don't hide anything. It's all there for you to see. I'm like you said, we're doing this for the love of the animals. It's, would I rather go to my old chemical plant job smelling nasty chemical all day and running a risk of, getting cancer, or do I want to work with these animals in my own time and animals that I love? That's the focus is, doing what we love, do what makes you happy.
Right. Do it. Wow. It's like, I mean, it's kind of, it hits like the first time ever hearing it. Like, do what makes you happy.
Do what makes you happy.
Jeez.
And don't expect instant gratification, be willing to put the work in to get yourself to that happy place, because it doesn't just come overnight. It's a lot of work, but once you get there, it's like, that weight releases off your shoulders, and you can just relax.
Yeah.
I won't deny that I have stressful days, but at the end of the day, I don't have a boss to go to and say, hey, this happened today. If anything goes wrong, it's my fault, and I'm the one that has to clean up the mess. So
yeah, you discipline yourself.
That's right. That's right.
And that's, man, I could tell you what, bro. I mean, it's I'm not the easiest person always, right? But when it comes to me disciplining myself, I'm good. Like I'm good at making sure I don't repeat the same mistakes, even though it does happen. They're fucking animals.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. We're animals.
Yeah.
We're animals that communicate in strange ways, and
yeah.
Yeah, totally agree.
So this year, right? It's 2021. You have things breeding. You said, right? You said, what are we looking at? Clutch. Hopefully, if things go well, how many clutches were you looking at for this year?
Gosh, things are going so slow this year. I've got 3 clutches in the incubator. I did get, I got 8 eggs from a double het SK axanthic female the other day. It was her first clutch, and gosh, I don't even think she's 3 years old yet. But doing a lot of mahogany stuff, trying to hit some sumapide combos. As always, urban camo, new urban camo combos, different sandblast combos. I'm hoping, crossing my fingers for candy pides this year. So, I've got a lot of stuff in the works, and then there's a lot of stuff that just isn't quite ready yet, but it's borderline. So we kind of play it by ear.
Right.
Every pairing that we do, we don't just pair snakes to get a clutch. Every pairing has an intended goal. If that goal doesn't reach fruition, then we try next year.
Right.
I'm not going to pair. I'm not going to pair something just to get some babies out of it. I want to stay focused and shoot for those goals. Because the way I see it, if you're just pairing to make babies, for some people, I guess it could be a good thing, but it's not about the money. It's about the forward progression of the projects.
Now, to counter on that, Brandon, if somebody is like in their first season in breeding and they have, like, let's just say, for instance, they have a visual to a het project, right? And for whatever reason, that visual male just doesn't want to fucking, excuse me, the other way around. The visual female, right? There's a visual female and a het male, right? And for whatever reason, that het male that you wanted to try to prove out just doesn't want to breed. And this is your first season, so you're trying to build some sort of foundation. Would you still want to at least try to make hets out of that female, out of that clown, if that's what your plan is to continue the clown project?
Yeah, of course. I don't want to confuse anyone. Like, if I've got a normal pied female and say, you know, I'm trying to get a clutch of mahogany pieds or you know, pastel panther pieds, I'll put that female to something else that I know is going to get the job done and get some pied babies out of it. But no, like you know, I'll go back and I'll say those special projects where you really are trying to, you know, combine new genes together and you know, focus on a new direction. Those are the projects I'm talking about. Like, you know, just sticking those two snakes together. If they don't go this year, they don't go. There's always next year. That's kind of where I was heading with that. So I don't want to confuse anyone and say that, you know, if I've got 5 normal female pieds, that I'm just going to not breed them to, you know, to that one snake this year. There's always a backup on certain projects, and you know, some projects there aren't, and you just kind of, you know, put them on the back burner until they're ready, you know, because that's really the thing is, you know, we don't make these snakes do it, they just do it, and we kind of introduce them, and they do their own thing whether we like it or not.
Yeah. And it's the good point that you have with what we're talking about right now is like, it's so much better to just wait to see what happens the next year versus just putting whatever the fuck you want to put to that girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it could just be simple as like a change of a season, like let it get cool or something. It could just be something so small. And then because I've had males just like locked towards the very end, and I'm like, what just happened? Like it was too late, but like I was like, damn, this dude was just like now he's ready. You know what I mean? Like it was just that split, that you know, that crossover where his, you know, he's you know what up. So yeah, man, that makes total sense. And this is why it comes down to just knowing your projects. Like you got to be smart about this stuff too. It's not like fucking, we're not jarheads like, oh, let's put snakes together. Like, no, man, the real fucking pioneers in this game really put thought and fucking effort into each project, and then they're really particular on what stays and what goes and what, you know what I mean? Like that's like, this is a player's game, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it really is. It really is.
So many people, I don't mean to cut you off, Brandon, but so many people that aren't in the ball python game that look on the outside in have so many like, you know, oh, ball pythons, you know, like pet rocks, like, bro, like obviously you don't have what it fucking takes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because here's the thing, like there's people that come to me like, hey man, I'm going to buy these adults. What do you think? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. What do you think? I don't know. What do you think? Like, you know, I'm supposed to tell you what to breed those things, but they think I could just buy adults and I'll just sell the shit out of the babies. Like, who's going to buy a baby off you? Like, that's the one thing I love about ball python. The ball python community just doesn't buy shit off people like that easy. Like, they literally they buy off who they fuck with and follow. And that's why I'm like another reason why I love the Instagram community, because they really buy off who they love and who they fuck with. So people, you know, they think it's that easy, man. Let me get in the ball python game. He breed some babies and fucking pump them out. Like, bro, you better have a plan. Like, this is a player's game, bro. Like, people, you know,
20 years ago when I first like really got heavy into green tree pythons, man, there were a lot of people that amassed these enormous collections of green tree pythons thinking that they were gonna, you know, make all these amazing babies and make all this money. And it was kind of at the peak of the designer green tree python era, and there were a lot of people that just dove in head first, and they're buying up all these animals and expensive animals. And when they finally started hatching babies and realizing how hard they are to get started, and most of those people you just seen disappear. And I hate to see that too, because I think, you know, people underestimate how much work is involved and how much it goes into, you know, presenting an animal and, you know, not making it look like shit. And a lot of people don't take the pride in, you know, their presentation and making sure their animals look healthy and they're fed well. And that's where I see the biggest problem for me, and you know, trying to get these newer keepers is like, you know, compare your picture to someone else and compare your animal to someone else's animal, and which one do you want to buy? Which one would you buy if you were there? So yeah, presentation is a big part of it.
Super.
And a lot of people don't take the time to do that. They don't take the pride in it. So, you know, sorry, I didn't mean to go off on that rant there.
No, bro, you kidding me? This is what this is for. this is your time to rant. No, but I mean, but it's not. I mean, it all makes sense what you're saying though, because like it's your brand is everything, and your brand is your animals. What you show, like as far as in your content, represents your brand. The way you act represents your brand. Everything represents your brand. So the first thing you should do to represent your brand is display a fucking nice looking animal with a nice looking picture. Like slow it down, take a clear picture, That's it. You know, like don't worry about the hashtags. Just take a clear picture and start and get consistent with it. You know what I mean? But I just feel like a lot of people don't want to look at that and they want to half-ass it. And I'm just like, all right, you know, like, but at the end of the day, man, like people will learn eventually people will learn to learn, or people will learn that they can't get it and they'll just stop, or they'll just, I don't know. Like, you know, it's not easy. It's not always easy. It's not always easy to watch. Like, no, it's not easy to watch either. Like I counted 5 accounts. Like just the other day, I was talking to somebody on the phone and we were just fucking around and like, we're like, what happened to that person? And then they're like, wait a minute. Also, this person, we count like 5 people right away, like who, like we used to follow, you know, and just aren't in it anymore. You stop paying, you know, everyone's like, everybody progresses, and like people you used to follow, maybe you don't follow as much anymore, and you just forget, you know, you're moving on with your life, and then you think like, whoa, what about? And then you like, you know, I've even typed up the names, like the last DM I've had, and I'm like, fuck, like when was their last post? Damn, they haven't posted in years. Like that's crazy. And like I look at all these conversations we had, I'm like, damn, that's heavy. Like I hope they're okay, you know, like. But
and then they just kind of disappear, and
it's life, bro. It's life.
And then you wonder what happened to them, what they're doing. But yeah, you're right. It's a life. You know, some things happen that are beyond our control, and you know, like me when I sold all my snakes 20 some odd years ago, you know, and had 6 snakes for 2 or 3 years. That I disappeared from the hobby for a few years at that point. I still produced a couple clutches a year and sold, you know, wholesaled my king snakes and stuff. But I did what made me happy at the time. You know, I roll with the punches.
Yep, exactly. Roll the punches, bro. Now, I will ask you this, man. With that being said, like on the other side of the spectrum, like damn, my mind just went blank. Fuck. I don't know how that happened. Okay, but what I was gonna say was, yeah, my mind went. What were we just talking about right now? I'm so embarrassed. What the hell were we just talking about right now? My mind just totally. I'm so embarrassed right now.
That's all right. It happens to me all the time.
Yeah, it's happened twice this episode. I don't know why. But what was the last thing you just said? Right?
Just kind of how people get a little bit overwhelmed and they disappear from the hobby.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. All right. Thank you. So on the other side of the spectrum, okay, the people who fucking fight it out and they're like, you know what? I know it's not pretty right now, but you know, there is a fucking, you know, green side of this at some point, and they make it through. How many amazing people have you met in this industry, bro? Like how many?
Dude.
Like people you would have never met.
It's kind of like a family. You know, you go to these shows and you meet all these people that you've met, you know, just through Facebook or Instagram, either one. And, you know, you almost like have this second family, is the best way I could put it.
Right.
Where, you know, you go to these shows, and last year was a testament to this. You know, with all the shows being shut down, when we were finally able to do some shows, man, it was like you just want to give everybody a big hug.
Yeah,
you miss them,
dude.
so
That's why I miss the shows, man. I'm not even a veteran that much for shows. I went to my first show other than Cali last year, which was Arlington, and you know, just to connect with some Texans, man. Like I have a lot of fucking homies in Texas that I became friends with in this industry. Bill being one of them, Patrick Holmes. Like there's lots of them. And seeing them in person and meeting them was like fucking epic. Like it was something else, dude, to just finally like not have to use your phone to talk to them, you know?
Patrick's another dude, man, that I have mad respect for. He's been around for a long time, knows his shit, and on top of that, he's a respectable dude.
Yeah, Patrick's
much respect for that guy.
He's like, you know, people could say what they want, and I've said plenty about the Chondro community, like, and what I think about them, but Patrick is probably the best thing about the Chondro community. I'm not even fucking joking. He literally is fucking a great guy to everybody. Even though if you're kind of a dick to him, he will still like counter and just be nice to you and fucking still give you great information. Doesn't want anyone to fail. Like he will literally spend his time to make sure like, okay, you're breeding this right and help your eggs. Like, I mean, I've been one of them, but I've heard countless people that he's helped, and like, damn, the hobby needs more people like Patrick for sure. I try to do what I can to become more of a Patrick each day. Patrick's just that's a stand-up guy right there, man. I love Patrick.
Yeah, I agree. I try to do the same, man. If anybody, you know, emails me or messages me with questions, I'm always going to answer. I might not answer you right away, and you know, because I'm elbow deep in rat crap or, you know, tortoise crap. But you know, I'm always going to do my best to get back to you. And if I forget, hit me up again, because I'm old and my brain doesn't work as well as it used to, and I forget things. And you know, but I always try to take time to help people if they have a question. And you know, it's if our customers aren't successful, then we're not successful. You know, that's the best way I can put it.
Right. Because like, you know, one thing that one of my favorite Brian Barczyk quotes that I learned last year was, you know, somebody else's win isn't your loss, you know, like just because someone is hitting what they need to hit and they're having a great year doesn't affect your year. You know what I mean? Good for them. You know, good for them. Good.
There's so many people, man, that are just killing it with all these new snakes that they're putting out, you know, and how can you not cheer them on?
Right.
How can you not cheer them on? It's, you know, that's the person I want to be, is that, you know, I want to see these new amazing looking animals and to be able to share them with everyone. You know, that's what we're here for, is the animals.
That's what it is, man. Make it about the animals, you know, because at the end of the day, like, you know, even if like, because if you do happen to be unfortunate and get swooped under drama that does come through this hobby every now and then, and you get swooped under it, you're going to realize how nonsense it is, because it has nothing to do with the animals. Like, this is about the fucking animals. Like, this is about your projects, why you're keeping the shit you're keeping, why you're breeding it, why you're fucking taking pictures every day. That's what it's about. It's not about what's going on over there. You know what I mean?
But again, the drama goes back to egos, man. Like, and not the right kind of egos.
No, but I feel like I truly feel like the new wave of things that are coming in, bro, like it's looking good, man. I mean, I mean, all like this one thing that this podcast has done really great is bring a lot of the new wave of keepers that want to learn. Right. And man, I get nothing but great positive feedback from them. They're just so excited to learn. They're all sponges, you know, like they come here like clockwork because they learn from every single guest. And that's what it's all about. Like, you know, imagine how exciting it would have been for you in the early 2000s, late 90s to have a platform to learn shit off of. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, who knows where you would be right now? Like, who knows?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But either way, like, you know, highly respect where you're at, because what you've had to go through to get where you're at, what you had to go through to make those camos, like, wasn't easy. You know what I mean? Like, none of it was easy.
I would do it all over again, though.
Yeah, for sure, because it's about the journey. You like learn to value the journey. The journey is what you really look back on and go, man, I'm fucking glad I went through that, because that's what made you get to that step. Everything has its own steps, right? And
like when I got into this hobby as a kid, as a teenager, I never thought that I would have, a breeding group of redfoot tortoises. And, my wife and I bought a couple babies at Tinley 7 or 8 years ago. I actually bought them from Brian Potter. He was, the one time he was working the Chicago Reptile House booth. And, so we bought these little baby redfoots and raised them up and just fell in love with them. And then, we just kind of accumulated animals over the years that have come up, that people couldn't keep anymore, or they didn't want them anymore, or they were too much work. And now we're hatching. We had 50 eggs from our redfoots this year, and I've got a waiting list for babies, mainly because they're captive bred. And but it's another species that I never thought I'd work with, and I just fell in love with it. And we're going to continue to run with it. I can't wait to get them outside again,
right?
When they can be in their element. So, but yeah, it's about just kind of keep moving forward and learn new things, learn as much as you can.
Yep.
Share information. Again, your information might not be the same as everyone else's, so share more and soak it in.
Soak it in, man. You couldn't say it any better than what you just said it. Before we get off the topic, though, did you produce these?
What's that?
Did you see it?
Yeah, those are babies. Those two just hatched this past week.
Wow, that is epic, bro. Look how cute that thing is.
They are adorable.
Oh my god, it's like a little Ninja Turtle, but with like a red head. Bro, that is so sick. How many of these do you have now?
We have an adult pair of cherry heads and 2.4 adult northerns, and have a young adult pair of Indian star tortoises that actually laid eggs this year, but their eggs were infertile. So, but that's half the battle, is just getting eggs from them. So,
right.
In my opinion, it's a plus. It's an achievement just to get eggs.
Yeah, that's amazing, bro. It's crazy. Those things are carnivores too. Like, those things will eat meat too, right?
I just fed my big northern redfoots a jumbo rat today that just got left behind. So,
my God, that's savage.
They
will.
That's what a lot of people don't understand, is that, man, the redfoot tortoises will literally devour a jumbo retired breeder male rat in 15 or 20 minutes. There will be nothing left.
So you just put, and obviously it's fucking pre-killed or something, right? So you toss it in.
Yeah.
It's not, you don't even need to cut it open, or they just go in on it, or do you
No, I put it in the pan and put it in there, and it's like, it's like a zombie flick.
Oh my God. I want it. I want a red tortoise. I want one. I want one of those, bro.
They all come running and they just tear it up. And
it just comes down. Oh my God. So, okay.
They're amazing. They're such social animals, man. They get to know their keepers, and they come up to you to give you a greeting, and they're such cool animals.
I'm in, bro. Now let's talk about real quick before, because I'm super in. The outside, you could keep them outside if you have the proper demographics of what's the temperature, the ranges that they could be in and whatnot. If you have
redfoots can handle down into the upper 40s. like for nighttime lows.
Right.
We don't leave ours out when it's that cold. We usually bring them in when it's 50, 55. But yeah, we'll leave them outside as long as nighttime temperatures are, in the mid 50s range. They don't necessarily like it super hot, so they need a lot of shade. As long as they have some sort of diffused sunlight and they don't have like
Direct.
full just beaming sunlight on them all day long. I mean, they can stay out when it's mid 90s. They do like to soak, so they need a pool. Basically, I'm about to dig a concrete and pour a concrete pool for my adults outside.
Hell yeah!
So yeah, it's the outdoor enclosure, man, is just going to be the shit once it's completed.
Oh my, stoked!
I think now it's about a 20 by 60 enclosure. So, there's a couple mulberry trees in there that we planted last summer to, once they get big enough, they'll start producing fruit. They'll have little treats that fall on the ground. They can just kind of pick them up as they go. They're really easy to care for, but they just, they require more space and a little bit more time and dedication to them, but they're worth it. They're super awesome, cool animals with super personalities, and they just love social interaction with people and other tortoises. It's like you'll see them kind of congregate together, and they'll all face each other and look back and forth at each other like they're talking about something, and then they go their separate ways. They're just interesting animals to work with.
That's so cool, man. That must be so neat. Because I just finally I'm at that stage where I love my snakes, but shit, bro, I fucking feed a Bell's face every fucking morning now, and this thing is so smart. And today it came to my arm to eat its breakfast, and I was just like, oh my god, the intelligence. Yeah, the intelligence, which you know what I mean. Like I said, I love my snakes, but I would never get that kind of a fucking emotion off watching it eat like that. You know what I mean? So now I'm just it's crazy to think, especially when you keep a legit reptile in its outside environment, how fucking awesome it is to see it thrive and just do its thing. That's the true goal. I have one 8 by 6 foot enclosure built for when the lace gets an adult, but I'm getting my plan is to get 1.2s to have 3. So I'm going to build each of them an outdoor enclosure, which they'll all be connected. So if I ever need them to pair up, I'll just, pick a side for the male to go on, whichever. But man, I'm all addicted to the whole outdoor thing now. I love it. There's nothing's more nothing's more satisfying to just even look at an outdoor enclosure with nothing in it. I just look at them wow, this is amazing. I could just envision what I'm going to put in there. Right. So I'm just oh my God, this is so dreamy. You know what I mean? So
we're getting ready to put up a greenhouse, just to kind of get a head start on growing some vegetables for the tortoises and growing some cactus for the tortoise.
Nice.
But yeah, we bought a greenhouse just to feed our tortoises. So we're going to be putting that up probably the end of the month, and not looking back. We're going kind of balls deep in the tortoises, and we, like I said, they're super fun to work with. Just seeing them running around that outdoor enclosure, and when you walk outside and you go up to the fence, they all just kind of come running up to you, and they come up to you. They love to be petted. They love the interaction. So yeah, I highly recommend a redfoot tortoise.
I'm in. I'm already in. Say no more. Do you have a preferred breeder that I could maybe reach out to, or do you want to give me a little lead somewhere maybe?
Well, we've got about 30 more eggs incubating now, and
So you're my plug? You could be my plug?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Got about 30 more eggs incubating, and had, the two that you showed in the picture, they've hatched late last week, and then we had 3 more crack open early this week, and that are still kind of sitting in the incubator right now.
OMG, I am fucking stoked. That is amazing. And that's exciting too, because I always gotta love, man, like, we just got done talking about how much of a player's game ball pythons is, and it is. But when you have that going and you have other projects going, so much respect.
Yeah.
Sorry, just so much. Because a lot of ball python people fear to do anything else. They don't want to. They're
right.
Just, nope, I'm good. Stick to my
ball. They don't want to. Yeah, they don't want to step out of that box and experience something else that gives you just as much joy. And I've got rosy boas and a few sand boas, and I've got one pet king snake that I saved off of a glue trap in a friend's basement, and so he's been here for 5 years now since I've had that king snake. But yeah, I mean, I like what I like, and if I get a chance to work with it, I'm going to do it.
Respect to you, man. Respect to you, Brandon. This has been an amazing 2 hours, man. I'm gold.
Not flew by.
Not enough. This is definitely a round 2 worthy type thing that we'll have to continue. Because I mean, you're a wealth of knowledge, bro, and you're just an amazing chill guy, bro. If it's one thing this channel likes, is chill people. So
appreciate it, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Hell yeah, bro. Now before I let you go, I do have some hot seat questions for you. I got to serve you with the hot seat questions, okay? And just in case if you don't know how this works, the hot seat questions don't need any explanation. Just need you to boom, boom, boom. Just hit me with it, all right, bro? All right. First one is going to be hot seat questions time for my man, Brandon Osborne. Here we go. Frozen thought or live?
Live.
A cut or no cut?
Cut.
Yeah. I know you wanted to explain yourself there for a second. Yeah. It's all good.
Yeah.
No, you're a cutter. You motherfucker will cut you. All right. Big flexor or no flexor?
Yeah.
You passing on the flex?
Yeah.
I don't know what that
I'll pass on it.
All right. Yeah. He's not a flexor. Okay. Even though he's a drummer, he flexes on his drums. Baseball or football?
Neither.
Neither. Okay.
If I had to pick, I'd say football.
Okay. Do you have a preferred sport? Or you just don't do sports?
No, I just don't do sports.
You're a magician. Got it. Steak or fish?
Snake.
Steak. Van Halen or Sammy Hagar?
Ooh. Oh man, you're talking about 2 different bands. That's 2 different bands. They're both great. You're asking a musician a really tough question. Songwriting, I have to say Hagar.
Damn. Really? I'm surprised.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I usually hear Halen from a musician. That's sick.
Yeah. Sammy's a beast.
Sammy is beastie. Yeah. Sammy's beast.
Everything he touched was gold, man. So I got to go Sammy.
All right, respect. Eminem or Machine Gun Kelly?
Eminem.
All right. Let's see. Metallica or Slayer?
Slayer.
Respect. All right, little word association. First thing to come to mind, milk.
Cereal.
Did you say cereal? I didn't hear that.
Yeah. Cereal.
Oh, great. The connection. Hold on. Oh, hold on. Is it me? Uh-oh. I hope it's not me.
I got a good signal.
It is me. Hang on. Hang tight. Oh, my internet's going out. You got to be kidding me at the very last minute.
No, I can hear you just fine.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, the audio is fluid. The picture is jumping.
Fuck. OMG, bro.
Can you hear me? All right. So yeah, the Van Hagar. God, that's a tough one. That's a tough one for me. I grew up on the early Van Halen stuff, but man, Sammy could write a good song. He's putting me in the hot seat for real now. Hope everybody's had a good time. I know I have. I hope everybody's learned something. If you haven't, maybe next time, hopefully. But yeah, we're going to get back out to shows again here soon. Doing the St. Louis Show Me shows. Mickey's running a great show. Really miss going to the shows there. But I told him I'd be back soon.
Son of a bitch! Son of a bitch!
There you are.
I can't believe it. We didn't. Sorry, hold on. I was trying to message in the comments. I'm like, hold on, bro. I'm coming. Oh man, crazy. Sorry about that, bro.
That's all right. That's all right.
I got to figure out that Wi-Fi thing because it happens like once a show. I don't know what the fuck happens. I get kicked off the Wi-Fi. I don't know. All right. So what? So we ended on the word association, right? So I said milk.
Yeah.
Okay. So milk. You said cereal, right?
Cereal.
Okay. Because I didn't hear that. So cereal. Okay. Fucked up the flow. So hold on real quick. Let me go back. All right. So word association. All right. So cereal. Cocoa.
Cereal. Cocoa.
Yeah.
Crisp.
Suck shed.
Soak.
Prevenamite.
Other alternatives.
Damn. Respect on that. Instagram trolls.
Fuck them.
Fuck them. All right. One has to go forever, ever. And I mean forever, ever. Instagram or Facebook?
Facebook.
Damn. There it is. Respect from the man himself, Brandon Osborne. What an amazing time, bro. Sorry about the last part of it, but fucking,
It happens. If that's the worst thing that happened today, we're both doing pretty well.
Yeah, no. I'm just glad because it's like, we planned for this, right? I told Brandon, I was like, hey, in case I get kicked off, like just continue on what we were talking about. But it was a hot seat question, so it's like, what do you?
And then I'm like, what do I talk about?
Damn, bro.
What
I was
do I
like,
do with my hands?
I was like, I can't know what to do with my hands. All right. Hey, good save. Good shit. Hey, you have a wonderful night, Brandon. Thanks again.
You
now,
too,
before
man.
I do let you go, one last thing. To all your supporters, you've had nothing but support this entire time. What do you have to say to everyone who's showing you love and everyone who supports you out there?
I appreciate all of you. Everyone that's bought snakes from us, anyone that hasn't, and they just continue to support us and follow our projects. It's greatly appreciated. Like I said, I don't succeed unless the hobby succeeds as a whole. So we rely on each other, and I appreciate all of you.
Oh yeah.
I've made some great friends of people that I've never met, and hope to grow the family even more.
Dude, my bad. Hold on. You had a little bro in the comments, and he was really adamant about asking about fingers, the king snake. What's up with fingers?
Oh gosh, that's my stepbrother's girlfriend. There.
Okay.
I used to have a king snake that I named Fingers because it was an Apalachicola king snake.
Wow.
It never failed. Every time you got the snake out, he would bite a finger and just wrap up around you and not let go for 10 or 15 minutes. So that was his name.
Wow.
That was the early days. That was back 92, 93.
Wow. Yep. King snakes could do that for sure. They love to eat. They love to eat. All right, my man. Have a good night, Brandon. I'll be in touch, bro. Thank you again. Round two.
You too, man. Thank you again.
Have a great season, bro.
You too. Appreciate it.
All right, later, Brandon.
Later.
Brandon Osborne in the books. What an amazing episode. And again, guys, sorry about that. Fucking dude, fucking need to talk to Cox about that. I'm not happy about it. But yeah, thank you so much. What a great show. I appreciate everyone who was live in the comments, everyone showing the man support. I appreciate it. If you guys don't mind, give the episode a like or a dislike. Go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know how you guys felt. You know, give my man Brandon some feedback. It's all about the guest, man. And again, thank you guys so much. Big things popping off for sure. Oh man, I fucked up again. But don't leave this. Don't leave just yet, guys. Okay, because I have an announcement. I'm really excited to let you guys know who I'm bringing on the show this Saturday morning for Trap Talk Coffee and Dab session. But this guy right here, I'm telling you right now, I had the pleasure of meeting him through an actual non-snake related friend. One of my good friends, Lawrence, grew up with him. He's like one of my best friends. And, anyone that this guy recommends or talks highly of, then, automatically I pay attention to that. And, I kind of met this person I'm bringing on the show through my friend Lawrence. And this fucking guy is amazing, man. He knows his shit, not only like about the snakes, but just about being a good human. Just about being a good human. And I feel like needs to be more people put out to a platform who are just simply good people, like fucking simply good humans out there, because there's good humans out there and they need to be shown. But not only that, he fucks with some sick ass snakes, some sick ass ball pythons. He has crazy projects in the works, and he's definitely a longevity type breeder, man. So be ready for this Saturday morning. We're at my homie Anton Hood from High Desert Pythons, who's going to be up in the building. We're going to chop it up. We're going to talk about his snakes. We're going to talk about guns. We're going to talk about some of his personal history, like back in the day type stuff, man. So it's not going to be one to miss. I'm telling you. So be ready to tap into that this Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay. Trap Talk with MJ. We're going to be with my homeboy, Antoine Hood. All right. So thank you guys again. I appreciate all the support, all the love. You guys are amazing. Again, remember, please support USARK. It's very important, man. They need our help and we need them. So USARK, do what you can. Spread the word. USARK is where it's at. And yeah, man, subscribe to the channel. Much love. If you want to join the Patreon family, that'd be sick as fuck too. Click the link below. This Sunday, it's going down like it always goes down. Have a great night. See you guys this Saturday. And yeah,